Hey, fourth graders. So for today, you're going to need your Orphan packet and your book. And we're going to correct page 30 or questions 30 through 33. Then we're going to read through the author's note. And then we're going to talk about theme and do a mini lesson and then talk through the theme page. So getting started. Chapter 30 and 31 questions. What did Dominic want to do at the end of chapter 30? Dominic, remember, wanted to take a nap. He was so tired. So then where is Dominic during chapter 31? He's back at the Orphan Ellis Island he's back at the Ellis Island Museum. Not just Ellis Island. He's at the museum. And number 3, so I just wanted to see if you could think of what theme was, because we've talked about this a long time ago before. So we're not going to answer that one quite now, because we're going to talk about it more on the next page. 32 and 33. Why was Dominic speechless when he saw the cracked piece of plaster of a goat with wings? Well, he said something along the lines, it reminded him that what Francesco did with Violetta when he sketched it or etched it into the plaster. And it kind of made him feel better, like, oh, I know I'm not crazy. Like, I saw this happen. Do you think he dreamed his adventure in Italy? Or was he really in 1908? Why? So for this one, we talked about how there really is no necessarily wrong answer because it's an opinion one. So a lot of people said they think he did dream his adventure because his back wasn't whipped, didn't have the whip on it, his shirt wasn't ripped, his feet weren't dirty and bruised. But then some people said he really did go back because we talked about how in dreams, most of the time you can't get hurt. Your body won't allow you to get hurt in a dream. And you can't really use all of your senses, like you're smelling that in a dream. So people thought because he was able to taste and smell all that stuff when he was in Italy, that he really was there then. What kind of pet did he hope for that his new foster family would have? Why do you think he hoped for this animal? Well, he hoped for a goat. And we talked about he hoped for it because it reminded him of Francesco and Antonio and Salvatore. And just wondering, because he's like, they would make a really good pet. And you did not have to answer question number 4. We crossed that out last time. Awesome. All right. So now you're going to get your book. You're going to open it to the author's note, which is towards the back. Okay. It is right after the end of our book, okay? So right after chapter 33, you'll notice this old picture, and then it starts the author's note. So what I want you to do is today I want you to pause it. You're going to read through that author's note. See if you notice anything that kind of rings a bell in your memory from parts in the book. So pause the video while you read through that whole author's note. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pages long. All right. Well, a couple things that we noticed in class was that it talks about familia a lot. And they came from Italy. And Albolino was a lot like Avoletto. And a lot of the names the author used were similar, right? Like the Perozzi kind of talk. When we had Perozzi in our book, there's Francesco, and her grandpa was Francesco. Her grandmother died from cherry pits from eating them, and when they appendicitis, they kind of tore through her tract, and she died from it, like Salvatore. And their names got changed, and just how we have a lot of our life to thank for Italy and from Italian immigrants. All right, so next up, we're going to talk about theme. And I have a video to watch that'll kind of walk us through how we can figure out the theme of a book. I'm going to turn my volume up because it's really quiet, okay?
land on a strange planet. They come across a giant, scary-looking alien. Captain Moby doesn't trust the alien, so he sets his phaser to stun. But First Officer Mia thinks they should talk to the alien and figure out the problem. The first officer listens to the alien and calms it down. It turns out the alien was upset because his ship landed on its bird bath. What do you think the theme of this story is? What is theme? The theme is an idea or message explored in a piece of writing, artwork, or film. The theme might be about our feelings, how people treat each other, or about something in our world that can be better. The theme is often a big idea about our lives. Well, in this story, the alien seems angry and scary. But the first officer learns about the alien's problem. She realizes that it's their fault. The theme of the story is that you should get to know people before you judge them. Right, Moby. The theme isn't usually said outright in a story. You have to infer and look at details and use what you know to come up with an idea. How do you find the theme of a story? As you read, think about the characters. What are they like? What do they find important? In The Cat in the Hat, the cat loves to have fun and break rules. This causes a lot of trouble. The fish wants to keep things orderly and warns the cat to follow rules. The theme of this book is about having fun, but making good choices. When you figure out the theme, think about the plot. The plot is all of the events that happen in the story. What happens to the characters? How do they feel about what happens? The theme of The Tortoise and the Hare is about working hard and not being overly confident. You can also find the theme of a story by thinking about the conflict. What is conflict? A conflict is a problem. As you read, think about the conflict in the story. A character might have to carry out a difficult task, overcome a big fear, or face another character. Think about how the character feels as he or she goes through the conflict. How does the conflict get solved? How do the characters change? A story about arguing friends might have a theme about accepting one another and forgiveness. It's helpful to take notes as you read. You can look them over to help you find the theme. What's the theme of your book, Moby? Let's see. In Charlotte's Web, Wilbur arrives on a farm where other animals aren't so friendly. But a spider named Charlotte promises to be a good friend. Soon, Wilbur finds out he's in big trouble. But Charlotte has a plan to save Wilbur. She spins webs with special messages. She works really hard, often spinning through the night. Her plan works and Wilbur becomes a star. Later, Charlotte lays eggs and Wilbur promises to protect them. He sticks by his promise and guards her eggs. To figure out the theme, think about the conflict and the solution, or how the conflict gets solved. The conflict is that Wilbur is in big trouble. The solution is that Charlotte spins webs with special messages. She promises to help him, and she does. I think the theme is about keeping promises and what it means to be a good friend. You're right, Moby. The theme is an idea that sticks with you long after you finished reading the story.
Alright, so then we looked at this page in our packet and we talked about what is the theme of this story. And we decided that the theme was to open your heart and that family is important. Okay, so family is always there. And some details, things that helped us realize that this was the theme. Well, Dominic opened his heart, he was able to come back. And Dominic took the whip for Antonio, and in turn, they let him come with him, gave him food, gave him a ticket to America. So he was helping out with opening his heart, and they opened their heart. And when Salvatore died, they all comforted each other. Because Dominic was really just some new person who they met the day before, right? Pretty much. They didn't have to comfort him, but they did. They all were together in it. So that's what we did today. Don't forget, your review packet is due, and we're going to go over that the next reading class. Talk to you soon.